This is higher homework, it's Unit 2 extension work, and again we're working on question 12. I've already completed A and B in the previous clip. We're now looking at C and D to try and complete these ones here. Okay, they're getting just a bit more difficult as we move along. Okay, for C, what I've got is I've got two things here that I'm going to be integrating, and they're just enclosed by a bracket. So don't think anything of the bracket, it's nothing that's too complicated there. All we're doing is just showing that all of that is with respect to x. Right, so let's go ahead and we'll do the preparation before we integrate. Right, so remember when I integrate I can't have any x's on the denominators, so nothing on the bottom, need it all to be on the top, and also I can't have any root signs when I'm integrating. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be trying to remove them. First line, let's go for it. Right, so I know that there's a 2 here because that's a square root. I've got a power of 3, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to change it to index form, and I'll have an x here. The power is 3 on the top and the 2 to the bottom. So that's x to the power of 3 upon 2. What I'll do with this one here in this first line, what I'll do is I'll change it to index form on the bottom. And I know that there's a 2 sitting here in the square root and a power of 1 if I don't see it. So that's going to change to x to the power of a half with respect to x. Right, let's get that up onto the top because I still can't integrate this whole thing yet. And I'm not going to do it in parts, I'm going to make sure that I've got everything prepared before I do my integration. Right, so what I've got here is I've got x to the power of a half. I'm going to take that to the top line and that'll be x to the power of minus half. And remember, I've already shown you why that works from there to there, and I've shown you that in part B. Right, so I'm in a state where I can now integrate both of these terms, and I'll just go ahead and I'll do that. So remember, I'm going to be adding 1 on to each of these powers that are here. So that's going to be x to the power of, so if I add 1 on to 3 over 2, I'm adding on 2 over 2. So what that's going to give me is 5 over 2. And then I'm going to divide by that new power. So that's the first part, integrated. What we'll then do is I'll look at the next part here. So I've got x to the power of minus a half. So I'm going to add 1 on to that. So that will take me to x to the power of a half. And then I'm going to divide by the new power, which is a half. I'm going to add on a constant of integration because I don't have any limits. And then what I'll do is I'll sort these out. And remember, I've shown you how to sort this out in 12a. So you can look back at that to see how this works if you've not seen that already. So that will be 2x to the power of 5 over 2 all over 5. I've got minus x to the power of a half, and I've got a 2 in front there, and that will be a 1 on the bottom that would be there. And what I'll do is I'll just tidy that up as I go along. So just to look at that again, so what I've got is x to the power of 5 over 2, 5 on the bottom, minus 2x to the power of a half, plus c, and I'll probably get my marks from there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to change it into the surd form again, just so that you can see how we would do that. So what I've got is I've got 2 there, I've got 5 on the bottom. What I'll do is I know that there's going to be a root in there, and I'm going to have x on the bottom. The number that's at the bottom of the fraction, that goes to the front that's here, that's the root. So there'll be a 2 there, but normally we don't show that if it's a square root. That's a power of 5 that's on the top there, so that would be a 5 that would go there. I've got minus 2, and what I've got here is x to the power of a half, and x to the power of a half is just the square root of x, and that's plus c. So that there should be my question complete. Let's see the marks for this one here. So they're gradually getting a bit more difficult, but what I'm going to give here is 1 mark for getting this whole line here correct. So that's the first mark that I'm going to give. I'll give a mark for getting this part here integrated out correctly and sorted out. Another mark for this part here, and a final mark for plus c. Okay, so this is going to be out of 4 marks. Let's look at part D. Okay, and I'm going to just do the same type of thing again. I'm going to have to prepare it in some way to make sure that I don't have any x's on the bottom and no root signs present. So I'm going to go through that and try and do that. Right, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change this x on the bottom. I've got a wee power of 1 sitting there, so that's going to be x to the 1 over 3, so that's a third. Take away, and what we'll do with this one here, I've got a 4 power, but we'll go there on top of the fraction, and the cubed root, the 3 goes there, because that's the root. Let's get this x to the power of a third to the top. What I'm going to do there is that will make it to the minus a third. X to the 4 over 3 with respect to x. So that's me got it in a form where I can now integrate it. So again, I'm not doing it in parts, I'm going to integrate at one point, and this is when I'm going to do it. Integrating the first one, okay? So I'm going to add onto this, I'm going to add 3 over 3, okay? So that's what I'm going to do first of all. So that's going to be x to the power of 2 over 3 divided by 2 over 3. I'm then going to have a subtraction sign there. I'm going to add 1 onto this one. So 1 onto 4 over 3 is going to be 7 over 3. Divided by 7 over 3. Got the constant of integration again because I've no limits to work with there. Sorting this part out, I'll go 3x to the 2 over 3 all over 2 minus x to the power of 7 over 3. I've got a 3 that's going to go there and the 7 on the bottom. So that's the way we've just kind of worked that out from there. What I'll do is I'll change that into surd form, just in case I was ever asked to do that. What I've got is the root, it's going to be a cubed root because that's on the bottom, and I've got a square in there, and that's all divided by 2. Taken away, and I've got 3, 7 on the bottom, plus c there, and what I'll do is I'll get this sorted out. So I've got x sitting there, I've got the 3 as the cubed root, so that's going to be a small 3 there, and I've got a power of 7 that's sitting up at the top there, and that would be that completed. Right, let's see where we're going to get marks for this one here. Same as in the previous one, what we're going to do is we're going to get a mark for preparing to integrate. So I'm just going to give 1 mark there. I'm going to give another mark for getting this part here correct, so that's integrating it through correctly and sorting the fractions out. Another mark here for doing this part correctly, and again I guess a mark for adding on the c. So again, that's going to be out of 4 marks.